What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee. I'm here. It's a Wealth Wednesday. Of course, Stacey Tisdale's here with me.
Happy Wealth Wednesdays, everybody.
Yay. All right. And right now on the line, we have our good friend, Michelle Anthony. And I want to say, while I was out over the weekend, someone came up to me and was like, I appreciate you so much for having these conversations about government contracts. And he's on the path now to getting his own.
Yes, and we're closing out celebrating Black Business Month, and we just want to thank you so much for being our guest co-host this month. People got so much information out of it. It was an amazing experience. You are in the family. Mm-hmm. We will be doing much more with you, and I just wanted to ask you, what would you say you would want our audience to be your key takeaways when they're starting to think of government contracts?
My key takeaways would be, first, that you got to have some patience and be willing to research and prepare for government contracting, because it's very, very vast and it can seem overwhelming. But, if you allow the right mentorship, you will be able to navigate these waters. And there will be sharks in the water because a lot of times people don't want to see people that look like us tap into an opportunity that for minorities is a great wealth generator. So there will be sharks in the water, but it's okay. You learn how to navigate and outsmart the sharks, and you keep it moving and you see the success. So it is a wonderful way to earn a living for you and your family and to develop. You learn so much as a professional. Being in this industry, you learn so much. It's so educational along the way every day.
And we do have questions from our audience, too, that they actually wrote in.
Yeah. We're starting our official Ask Michelle.
I know, because all right. Now, one question was about whether this can be something that is a side hustle. A lot of people have jobs and maybe they're not in the position to give up their income because, like you said, you have to have patience to be able to do this. So is this something that you can do kind of on the side until you get more established?
I would say yes. I would say don't leave your regular job until the business takes over so much that you can't do them both. Don't just abandon because you have this idea, because this is going to take a little while to get it in place and get the volume of business that you want. And then you would be able to step away from whatever and focus on growing your business even more. So yes, you can do it as a side hustle. But you're going to be burning a lot of, late night oil if you do it that way.
Okay. A question we got many times was, what are the first steps I should take to start government contracting?
I think the first step is really, really knowing what you think you want to do. And that may change because a lot of times what I've learned is I may want to sell something, but that may not be what the customer is buying. So you have to be flexible and have the agility to pivot. And, because you may have to start one way and then pivot and go back to what you originally wanted to do, possibly. So, that's what I would say is when you know what you think you want to do, then, I'm going to tell you some other things, steps that they can take to begin to develop that space.
All right. Now, another great question that we had, a few different people asked about this, the challenges, some of the common challenges that new contractors face when bidding for government contracts. You said you have to have patience, and clearly you don't just get a government contract. You also have to bid for it. So what are some of those challenges that people face?
Okay. Well, let's get to, we can't just bid for contracts. We got to roll that back. So we need to make sure, first off, that you're prepared, that your entity is prepared, and that you've gone through the proper steps with establishing the company, establishing your tax ID number, whether you plan to have employees or whether you plan to be just a sole practitioner or just an independent contractor. It's very important because when you begin to establish your organization, that's going to determine how you're taxed. And you want to think of that because you want to think of yourself as earning revenue. You're not doing this just to be doing it. So, taxes is there. We're going to have to deal with that. So if you plan to do something wherein, it's just going to be you and maybe, someone else and they're going to be an independent contractor, then you would not need an employer tax ID number. You need a TIN. There's a difference. There's a TIN, and that's for like if you're a sole proprietor, and then there's an EIN. And an EIN means that you want to employ people. Mm-hmm. And that way the government will know, and they'll tell you, hey, every quarter you're expected to pay quarterly tax payments on all of your employees and the taxes that you withhold from the employees. And then at the end of the year, you're going to have to pay you file these reports every quarter and you submit the tax payments. And then at the end of the year, you do an end of the year report. And once you do that, and that'll include things like unemployment, because as an employer, you are responsible for paying into the unemployment tax for your employees. So if they do become unemployed, the unemployment agency will determine whether or not they're eligible for benefits. So all of those taxes, Social Security, FICA, FUTA, all of those taxes are going to be established based upon what you say in the very beginning. So trying to have an understanding if you want to employ people or not. If you don't, then you can operate yourself as just a sole proprietor or an independent contractor. And then that's where you will have like a 1099. You won't do a W-2. But if you have an EIN, the government is going to expect you to issue W-2s to your, taxable employees. So you start out with that. And then as you think about those things, you start to think about, okay, what industry? Do I want to be in real estate? Do I want to be in, I talk about IT all the time. Do I want to be in healthcare? Do I want to provide personnel? A lot of times with the government, they have downsized internally, so they outsource a lot of support work. Mm-hmm. So if you were a nurse, and maybe you were a charge nurse, and you were accustomed to making sure that all of the shifts were covered, and you had to manage all of that and make sure that everything was taken care of properly, then maybe if you desire to have your business, you could provide nurses and CNAs and lab techs and medical personnel to support some of the healthcare facilities, because with the government, all military installations have their own healthcare system there. Every base is pretty much going to have a clinic, and if it's large enough, it will have its own hospital. So those are areas that the government procures those services. We provide support services to multiple military treatment facilities. That's what they're called, military treatment facilities around the world. They have dental services, medical services. They have technicians that handle like for the MRIs and all of those things. They provide all of those things to their service members. So it's according to what you currently do, what you feel that you're very good at, and that you will be able to manage. Because the whole key to it is being able to perform very well in whatever you say you're providing to them. Performance is going to make or break you.
And you kind of answered it, but a lot of people ask, what kind of products and services does the government need? Because a lot of times when we think government contracts, you think government jobs. Angela was just saying building like a spaceship or something, but it's a range of things.
They need them. They need them too. But,
okay, we'll do that.
They do. That's where you have your companies like Lockheed Martin. You have your Boeing. They build aircraft. The government buys their aircraft.
They also buy wigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They buy wigs for cancer patients. Especially like the Veterans Administration for veterans who may have cancer, and they have attributed that to their time in service. Well, the government has to pay for whatever treatment they need, and so they do, but they buy wigs. They don't buy wigs just for people because they want to buy wigs. They buy wigs because it has a medicinal connection. and therefore they're providing that as a part of your benefits. They buy. Let me see.
You're
It's a
saying
wide
coffee?
range. Yeah. Hey, don't tell anyone that. We're trying to
Okay,
keep that
no,
low.
but they don't buy any coffee ever. Kidding.
So they buy. Like I said, you have professional services like accountants. They have accounting services. They have legal services. Sometimes they don't have enough attorneys in house, so they will issue contracts for additional support services. They even buy companies who do contracting services or procurement. Now, in the government, one term that I want all of the listening audience to get accustomed to is the word procurement, because that's what they're doing. They're procuring these items. So as you're growing in this space, procurement and acquisition, those are two key words that you'll see all the time, or you'll hear all the time, because they're procuring goods and services. And then it's through the acquisition process that they procure the goods and the services. So you need to be familiar with those two words, because they're going to be very fundamental and basic throughout your time as a government contractor. So as far as additional things that they purchase, you think about military service members. They purchase the uniforms. People who know how to make uniforms and can do them in bulk, they give them contracts. They purchase, they have what they call, in the Army, they call it the mess hall, the chow hall. That's where you go and you eat. And sometimes they have to hire outside caterers or outside companies to come in and run that entire program to make sure all the soldiers or sailors or whomever, that they're fed. Those are contracts that they do as well for food services. They, let me see what else. They do real estate. The government has real estate needs. They have, let me see what else.
Anything you can think of.
Yeah, pretty much
right.
anything you can think of, other than things that are just personal for you.
Right.
So, for example, the government is not going to pay for you to get your nails done. They're not going to pay for you to get your beauty and your eyebrows. But hey, for veterans that have served, they do pay for, say, if they need dentures or dental work, they pay for those things if you have a certain disability rating and what happened to you on active duty has affected your dental care. They pay for that as well. So it's a wide range. They pay for gasoline. They have people who provide gasoline services to them, that they can buy large volumes of gasoline. They can, purchase oil. They, let me see, and of course food,
right,
because they have to feed the service members and things of that nature.
So you're running the gamut here. You're really running.
You name
it.
And as we're talking about that too, and we've been saying this, right? People are going to have to really be proactive in doing the work. This is not something that you can just say, oh, I do this. And so we're going through the whole range of the way that you can actually take the first steps. And I know people can actually ask you questions as well. But from our listeners, another common question that we got was, how can I build relationships and network within the government contracting industry?
Okay, that is something that you can do by attending. There are a lot of times there are conferences and events that are live, and you can go to these events. You can look at like the SBA.gov to see if they're hosting any events that, are for first-time government contracting companies. And one of the best things that I can tell you to do is there's an organization in the government it used to be called the PTAC, PTAC, for Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. They changed the name, and I think it is the Apex Accelerator. But that organization provides free services to people who want to become government contractors. And when you if you look it up, it's AP as in Paul, T as in Tom, A as in Apple, C as in Charlie, hyphen, the dash, So the APTAC organization, what's great about them is they'll help you set up your SAM account and make sure it's done properly. They'll make sure to tell you what you need to do to get your all of the codes and the things that need to be affiliated with your corporation or your company. The PTAC office has free services that you can be assigned to a counselor or an assistant, and they will walk you through all of the beginning stages. They'll also put you in a database that they have wherein when new opportunities come up based upon the NAICS codes. If you remember last time, I spoke with you guys about the NAICS codes, NAICS. If you look up the NAICS codes, that tells you everything the government buys. So if you Google NAICS codes, when you look it up, it'll be everything from soybeans to farming to spacecraft. All of those things fall within those next codes. And the next code is what you're going to say you're going to choose for the line of business you want to do. So the PTAC will help you with that. The PTAC will, there's also another organization called SCORE, SCORE. And these organizations are both free, and it's score.org. So if you go to them as well, they will help you get started. And then you can start hearing about different industry events and getting your way, getting your foot in the door to first off, just make sure everything is done correctly. And then you'll be off to a really good start. So that's what I would advise as for people when they just first want to get started, because it's free.
Yep, I already bookmarked it.
I know. While you were talking, she was sitting here bookmarking everything. I'll get that from her.
Yeah.
Michelle, there's talking the talk and there's walking the walk. You have really, it's been such a special experience. And so many people feel better about government contracting. We really appreciate you stepping outside and putting everything aside because you want our community to scale and create big businesses. We can't think of anything better we could have done as we celebrate Black Business Month.
We'll be detailing our journey with you also.
Yes.
Because we're going to continue the conversation.
There's more to come.
I hope other people do too.
Yes. Follow her on Instagram, Michelle Fegans Anthony. That's FEAGINS, Michelle Fegans Anthony. And her website is michelleffanthony.com.
All right.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah. Happy Black Business Month.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You guys have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to some success stories.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we are too. I'm excited.
We're there.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.